Hello, I'm Dave Mowitz and welcome to Successful Farming. On today's program, I'm heading to auction to see what a classic International Harvester 1066 Turbo sells for. You know, these chore tractors are highly sought after by collectors these days. And just wait until you see the Aegis Iron Feature Tractor. It's a hot rod Farmall Cub. The engine answer man, Ray Boax, offers an invaluable tip on proper operating angles for power takeoffs. And after these brief messages, I head to Wyoming to tour a shop that has evolved into a repair, maintenance, and storage complex. So please stay tuned.
Ray and son Travis Freeberg realized that they would outgrow their shop before it was even built, so they strategically planned for a structure that would accept additions in the future. Let's go talk to Travis Freeberg about their shop and machinery storage complex. Overall, under one roof right now, what size structure do you have?
200 by 160 is the structure of the shop and the cold storage. 30 by 30 is the current office space.
So that actually wasn't all built at one time. You started out with what we're standing in right now, which
Correct.
is a shop. That original building was what?
100 by 100.
Okay.
Yep.
Now, what was unique about that, I think your dad had made the comment about how you built the shop around the doors.
Yeah, that's correct. We wanted to have easy access, be able to pull machinery in and out without turning around. We wanted all of our doors facing south because of the prevailing wind, and just didn't want to limit ourselves on where to locate stuff because you couldn't get things in and out.
We'll talk about the door size and placement. In this case, you've got 3 doors facing south.
Correct.
And those, what size doors are those?
Those doors are they're 20 feet wide, 18 feet tall.
To create an overhead door that would be wide enough to readily consume their biggest equipment, the Freebergs innovated a center post that readily swings out of the way when both of the overhead doors are open. So Travis, your dad and you engineered something unique with the manufacturer on the double set of overhead doors.
Right.
You can take the center pillar out, I'm sorry.
We can, correct. Yeah, our east end of our shop, we wanted to be able to have a big opening. We wanted to have overhead doors, so we built two 20-foot doors side by side with a common pillar between them that
Right.
both doors commonly go to this rail, and when both of those doors are up, that pillar swings up into the header, so we've got a 40-foot clear span to get something wide into the shop. And so when both overhead doors are up and that pillar is swung up, we made it impossible, or dummy proof I should say, that the doors can't come down
Right.
and cause a heck of a wreck. So the pillar has to be in place and secure before the doors will come down or go up.
So that double door, that creates kind of a super large door. What will you use that for then?
We use that to get in some of our wider machinery, air seeders, combines with headers, 12-row corn heads on a combine, or a 40-foot platform. We kind of have to wiggle a 40-foot header in to get it in here, but being able to work on something, if it comes in out of the field broke down, we don't have to worry about getting a header trailer or whatever. We can just pull it right in and work on it in here in a nice environment.
So Travis, we have a door off to our left here. That leads into what was stage 2 in the addition
Correct.
of your buildings.
Correct, yeah. We kind of found once we built this place that it kind of turned into basically a parking garage, and we didn't want our working shop to be a parking garage, so we wanted some place to store machinery and whatnot. So our second phase of the structure was we built 100 by 100, exactly the same size is our shop storage to the west here. And additional thing that it added to the structure is it provided some dead air space, because our prevailing wind in this country is from the north, kind of northwest, so it helped our energy consumption in this building out a bunch too by putting it on the west. So, but the main reason we wanted is just some storage, so the shop just didn't get cluttered up with vehicles being parked.
Now, that was number 2 edition. You weren't done yet.
Right.
You kept outgrowing your machine storage as well as the shop.
Right.
You put on a 3rd edition then.
We did, yeah.
And that was across the back of what are now essentially one big building, but it was two structures.
Yeah, we built on a lean-to the north. Again, strategically placing that so our warm area of our shop is in the southeast corner of the structure, and so we have dead air space now on the west and the north. And so we built a lean-to on, like you said, the full length of the structure to the north, and the dimensions of that are 60 by 200.
One of the best additions the Freeburgs felt they made to their shop complex was this 25 by 60 foot combination wash and paint bay. Talk about the wash bay.
Sure.
You were really washing outside prior to that?
Yeah, we were actually. Before all this, we did everything outside. I mean, in the winter, you put on your Carhartts and you did it all outside. But I think the wash bay is probably the single best thing that's probably the addition to the shop. Yeah, there is something in there 2 or 3 times a day, every day. So
you're doing kind of fine washing in there, because you also have an outdoor wash bay.
We do, yeah. We have a 2,000 gallon tank inside our wash bay that fills on a float system.
Okay.
It's hooked to a garden hose, and it goes to actually a cattle water float, fills up, and then we've got a 2-inch line that goes outside that goes to a gas pump, and then it banjos to a fire hose, and anything that comes in that's super soiled, whatever.
You're going to blast it
we'll
all
blast
out
off
there.
with a fire hose outside to keep all the big chunks of mud away from our pit in there, and try to get as much of the big stuff off outside before it comes inside.
R&K Farms sits in the wide open spaces of eastern Wyoming, with dealerships sometimes located hours away. The solution the Freeburgs came up with was to create a storage depot of critical parts. You run a lot of machinery. This is a big operation. You have a lot of parts, and you're a long ways from a dealer.
Our closest dealer is Cheyenne, and it's kind of a smaller agricultural store, so they don't keep a huge inventory of the parts that we actually use. And our closest past that is Sydney, and so we have to keep a lot of our own spare parts, because it's the lead time to get stuff is just a long time. So we try to keep anything and everything that we might need in a breakdown or whatever. In crunch time, we try to keep spare parts.
So how did you determine with time the parts you had outside of the basic stuff? Was it just experience that taught you we want to lay in more parts of a certain type? Because
we told the John Deere dealership that we want every belt made on our combines. Uptime for us in weed harvest is essential. So if we can come back to the shop and get a belt that takes 10 minutes versus an hour trip to Cheyenne and an hour back, that's 2 extra hours of uptime. So we keep every belt on every combine that we've got in storage.
The important takeaway from the Freeburg shop tour is that any existing structure can be added onto. Too often, building contractors are unwilling to make additions to buildings, preferring you put up a separate structure. But there are cost savings as well as conveniences to be had with the shop addition. I'll see you again on a future Top Shop tour.
Hi, and welcome to the Successful Farming Show Engine Man segment. I'm Ray Bohax, and I'm here today at the Columbiana Test Facility for Firestone Ag Tires. It's a real neat complex. This is where they do all the testing and research work on Firestone farm tires. What I want to talk about today is something that's called driveline harmonics. It falls under a category of NVH, noise, vibration, and harshness. When you have a second order harmonic, that means for every revolution of the shaft, there's 2 vibrations. Now, what I have here over here is something that's very simple and is available in almost every hardware store. It's a magnetic angle finder gauge. And what I'm using as a demonstration prop here is a PTO shaft from my little spinner spreader from our farm. And I took, for demonstration purposes, I took a piece of metal, since this is non-magnetic, and I attached it to it with a zip tie. What I want to represent is that it's extremely important for the angle of the prop shaft, be it a drive shaft or a PTO shaft, to not be too great. On a road vehicle, you want a maximum of 3 degrees of what they would call drive shaft angle going into the pinion. So we have a maximum of 3 degrees of tilt. When the drive shaft and or PTO shaft is more than 3 degrees angle, what's going to happen is it's going to spin in an ellipse. And when it spins in an ellipse, when it goes up to the peak and to the bottom peak, it's going to input a vibration. To check this is very simple. What you would need to do is have this magnetic gauge, and you would affix it to the drive shaft. As I said, I put a piece of metal on this, and then you would tilt it, and you would read the needle. If the front of the shaft that comes from the power transmission point is up, that's a positive angle. If it's down, that's a negative angle. So you'd want a maximum of 3 degrees of an angle on any type of PTO and or drive shaft. And that is why a lot of newer farm equipment and newer trucks and vehicles use what they call a constant velocity joint, because it allows more of an angle without that elliptical motion that causes second order harmonics. If I could ever help you in any way, please feel free to contact me at sfengineman@agriculture.com, not just about PTO shafts, but about anything on the farm. Have a blessed day.
At one time, it was only farmers seeking out tractors like the International Harvester 1066 Turbo. These days, tractor collectors are snapping up these horsepower classics. Join me at a machinery sale to see what one such 1066 sells for. So please stay tuned.
Welcome to Steel Deals. When I'm not busy running around to auctions or writing for Successful Farming magazine, I'm editor of the Ageless Iron Almanac, a publication dedicated to the great vocation of collecting vintage tractors. And when I say vocation, I mean it. Collecting antique tractors is a passion for hundreds of thousands of people, including me. This is why when I was inspecting equipment at today's auction, I stopped at this International 1066. Not long ago, a tractor like this would have been bought by a farmer looking for a chore tractor or an acreage owner. But in the last decade, tractors like this muscle tractor are being snatched up by collectors. This tractor is in solid shape. It's coming off a farm that had used it for the last 35 years. But the 414 engine in this tractor had been changed out with a 436 engine out of an IH combine. Now, this motor also has 5,500 hours on it. So I wonder if that change out will have an effect on its value. Well, before this tractor sells, I'm going to go talk to Sullivan Auctioneers machinery expert, Dan Sullivan, and get his opinion on today's sale. Dan, we're having some fun today. We looked at that 1066 Turbo. Now, if I were at an auction like that 10 years ago, that'd be a chore tractor. Collectors are going after them now. What's with that?
Absolutely. You know, it's all about timing. And you know, one day they're using it as a farm chore tractor, and now they're trying to put them in the tractor collection. Those 66 series tractors, wow, we've sold some pretty high ones this past winter.
It is amazing to see what the prices have done with those, and that's because of the interest in what they call muscle tractors. You know, it used to be John Deere A's. Now we're getting the 100 horsepower tractors, and they seem to attract a lot of attention. Have you noticed that too?
Absolutely. Those 66 series tractors have drawn attention all over the place. And you know, the commodity prices do not affect that size and that series of a tractor like would if they were buying it for farm use or something. So definitely a lot of interest out there, a lot of interest on the internet on that tractor, and interested to see what it brings.
Man, if I had to put you on the spot, what do you think it might bring for a top bid?
Oh, I think that 1066 today, I'm going to say that tractor will bring somewhere in that between that 9,000 and 10,000 range. We've sold a few of them this winter for 15,000 to 20,000. This one has had an engine replaced and maybe not quite as sharp as some of those we sold, but there's a lot of activity on it, a lot of interest in it. So I guess I'm going to say either side of 10,000.
Well, Dan, thanks for that information. Let's go watch that 1066 Turbo sell.
Nice deal right here. I'm at 135.5. 3,504 pounds, 135, 45, 545. Let's go. 4,504 pounds, 5,500, and now 55, 555, now 6 pounds, now 65, 65, 65, 65. Now 7, now 7, now 7, now 65, 7 internet gal, 7,000. I have 6,500. Asking now 75, now 75. Now 8,000. Now 8,000. Under the burn 75. 85 hard. Now 9,000 high. Now 9,000 under the burn 85 under 9,000. 85 under 9,000 high. Now 9,000 under 85 under 9. 2.5. 8,000. 2.5. Now 5. Now 85. 85. Brad, you looking 85. 2.5 high. 82.5 under 5. Now 7.5. 87.5 high. 7.5 and 9. Now 9 pound under 87.5 under 9. Now 9 pound under 87.5 under 9,000. Sold it. Sold it. Sold it. 87.50.
So how does the 8750 given for this 1066 compare to recent sales of similar tractors? Well, I found 4 1066s that sold in the last 3 months, and they went for $2,400 up to $49,500. Yes, you heard right, $49,500. Now that high tractor was restored and equipped with a very, very rare front-wheel drive system. So let's throw that one out and narrow our search to unrestored tractors like this 1066. Now auction sales prices on such tractors range from $2,400 for a very rough tractor up to $10,300. Now let's throw that very, very rough tractor out. So now I've narrowed the search range down to tractors that match this one. No cab, fresh from the farm. Now our price range narrows from $4,700 up to $7,800. So that tells me the person who bought this 1066 got a fairly good deal on the tractor at today's sale. See, that's the great display of the internet. You can do detailed research into past sales and feel more confident about what you want to pay. If you want to do some internet searching, I would highly recommend going to the following sites. And they include rbauction.com, tractorhouse.com, fastline.com, and ironsearch.com. For more information about Sullivan Auctioneers, you can go to their website at sullivanauctioneers.com. And you can catch my Steel Deals reports in every issue of Successful Farming magazine. Join me again next week on another Steel Deals report.
After these brief messages, we feature a highly modified Farmall Cub. You've got to see this. It's like a work of art. So please stay tuned.
So I'm walking through the Red Power Roundup recently, and I catch a rather unique Farmall Cub. This is one of only one that exists. It's the creation of Larry Metalis of Kenosha, Wisconsin. Larry, you found this Cub. It was a bit of a wreck, and you're kind of known for customizing, and I'd say you did a bit of a customization on this tractor. Tell me about when you found this tractor. It wasn't too good a shape, was it?
Well, I wanted to customize a tractor, and so I looked on eBay, and they had one close to right out of O'Hare in Chicago. So I went and got online, and I happened to buy it for $900. So we drove down there and picked it up and brought it back and started taking it apart and find out that the motor was completely shot because the rain came down the exhaust pipe, they had no cover on it, and rotted out all the cylinders.
So pretty much you're looking at a new block for starters.
So I'm in a dilemma here. I don't know what I'm going to do because should I scrap the tractor or should I go buy a new engine? So I looked on eBay right away, and the next thing I knew there was an engine in Grand Rapids, Michigan. It was 5 hours away, so I told my wife Paulette, I said, hey, we're gonna go get this engine. Went and picked it up and brought it home and started rebuilding that thing and started continuing on with what I thought about my dream to accomplish what I did now.
Oh, you gotta walk us through the stream because this is, at the Red Power Roundup, there isn't a moment go by where there isn't somebody looking at this tractor, because to say that you dolled it up is an understatement. You've got a lot of chrome here, a beautiful paint job, and you got the most unique rear tractor tires I've ever seen on a tractor before. And maybe we ought to start back. These are semi tires.
In Oak Creek, Wisconsin, there was a tractor show, Pioneer Days.
Oh.
And they had a Ford 8N, it had smaller semi tires, and I says, I can do that. And that was been about 6-8 years ago. So I had it always in my mind I could do it, just like my front spoke wheels. I knew I could do it, so I said, well, I'm gonna do it. So I took this local semi-truck company. I went over out of the blue and asked them, hey, can you help me out? I need some rims and tires so I could put them on my tractor. The guy looked at me a little strange.
No.
He says, Yeah, I can help you do whatever you want to do. So we got 2 used rims, 2 recap tires, and then I machined the hubs to get them proportionate to fit on the tractor. That took me almost 7 months.
So you got the rear tires done, but you weren't going to stop with the tires or the rims there. You actually put spoked chrome on the front.
Aluminum spoke wheels in the front.
You made those yourself?
I made them myself. Machined out of a block of 14-inch aluminum by 4 1/4. Cut the groove in there, cut the OD and the proportion, made the spokes, had to make a die for it, machined the hub, put it all together, had to make a fixture, and we welded it, finished machining, and then put the tire on.
Okay, now you got to talk about the intake and exhaust system on this tractor.
We call them zombie pipes. There are 4 pipes that come out of the engine, and they come straight up. And so then I had to make fixtures and bushings and stuff to get that going. Then I had to adapt the carburetors to it.
Not one, but
I got 2 carburetors. And then I had to make an air cleaner cover, which I use Briggs & Stratton lawnmower filters to clean the air.
And that you made out of aluminum as well then?
Yeah, that's like 8 pieces of aluminum. One was bent, and I had to make another piece, and I had to put a cover on the end, and I had to make a funnel for it, and I had to make it look nice.
So, like the steering wheel, that was a piece of salvage you found?
This is a piece of aluminum rod that comes off of a shower top. And it just happened to be the right size, and I had to cut about 1.5 inches off it, and then I fitted it.
So when you came to painting, it just couldn't be just a straight red, IH red paint job. I love the customization of this. Is this your work?
No, a friend of mine, his name is, Shepherd's Design. I took all the holes off of here, the lights, the holes, and everything that I didn't want, because General Motors used to make an Impala with all the fancy stuff, and they used to make a Biscayne that had nothing, no frills. Well, that's what I wanted. So I did most of the body work. He finished up the body work, and he painted it.
So the next project is?
Making it better and going to parades and showing it off.
Well, Larry, this is quite a tractor, judged by all the looks that you're getting at the show here at the Red Power Roundup. Well, for more information about Larry's customized Cub and other Aegis Iron featured tractors, go to agriculture.com/TV.
Please join us next week for another outstanding show. Jesse Scott honors the men and women who have given service to their country with a program featuring servicemen who have returned home to farm. You won't want to miss this Fighter to Farmer special program. In the meantime, be sure to visit the show's website at agriculture.com/TV to get more information on this show and to view past episodes. And as always, please let us know what you think of the show. Look at the show's email address at agriculture.com/TV. See you next week right here on Successful Farming.
Hi, I'm Dave Mowitz. Thanks for watching. If you like this video, hit subscribe right here if you haven't already, and click that little bell right here to be notified when we post a new video. And click here to see more great episodes from Successful Farming Television.